bring it back to Gauteng, and former Wits SRC President Mcebo Dlamini has apologized to the Jewish community for anti-Semitic comments he made in 2015. He spoke glowingly of the Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. The Jewish Board of Deputies reported him to the Human Rights Commission. Let's discuss this then. I'm joined by Mcebo Dlamini in the studio. And Mcebo, just take me through the process from the point at which you were speaking glowingly of Adolf Hitler to the tension that built up between yourself and the Jewish Board of Deputies, and now this point where you are, where you're basically apologizing for those comments.
Thank you for having us. And this has been a long journey. It's been 5 years since the occurrence. Now, it started from a Facebook comments. Initially, the post had nothing to do with the events that transpired. But, you know, a comment within the post then led to all the things that, the anti-Semitic comments and the hate speech. But, well, at the time, one can say probably we were naive. We lacked knowledge and understanding. I was doing first year LLB at the time. As I'm sitting here now, I'm a law graduate. So the understanding of the law, freedom of speech and hate speech and how it leads to each other it was different then and now. So I would say we were reckless.
Yeah. So just take me through your apology then. What specifically are you apologizing for? Are you apologizing for expressing your adoration for Hitler, or apologizing for harboring that adoration?
Well, we are apologizing for infringing other people's rights and undermining their own pain and struggles in the process. Now, it doesn't matter what you feel at the time when you say something, but it's how the other person receives it. Now, words and language are very important. So now it's a manner in which we expressed certain things. They were expressed in a way that violates, in a way that seeks to derive pleasure from inflicting pain to others.
And then tell me about the process. I understand that there was a mediation process, and it took place in a particular setting that was meant to heighten your understanding of events that took place in Nazi Germany and the impact that they've had over the decades on generations of Jewish people across the world. Yes.
Well, yes, it was an informative setup, because you had the human rights, which there are structures that seeks to ensure that we all abide with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And they articulated on the articles itself and the law, and what freedom of speech is and how it can be contextualized, just to point the legalities, not the political aspect, because in this matter there were politics and law. They clashed. Now then we say the Jewish community felt offended and they felt threatened by the comments, because it reminded them of what they went through, and they felt that it harbors around a possibility of triggering another, attacks. So then we went through the process of us showing exactly as to what really transpired and the fears of it happening with the world watching, and and it's still happening. Well, if you can extend the Holocaust into our space in Africa, you have seen genocides everywhere. In Rwanda, even here in South Africa, we still see the xenophobic attacks and all those things. So it literally falls within the same.
And how has your apology been received?
Well, I would say that it is warmly welcomed. Probably it was unexpected. The apology was not expected. A lot of people, it caught them off guard because they have their own vision of who Mcebo is, and probably an arrogant person, a hot-headed person. But at the end, we grow. And part of growing is doing an introspection and revisiting certain things and say, well, look, we were wrong here, and we look at the future. How do we move on from now? What type of a leader do you want to become?
Yeah.
What type of a father do you want to be?
I'm keen to know, though, Mcebo, that what does your apology and the change in the way you view things around the Holocaust and Adolf Hitler and your interaction with the Human Rights Commission and the Jewish Board of Deputies, what should we read in terms of what that means for your politics, right? For instance, around issues to do with the Palestine-Israel situation. Your position has been well known for a period of time.
Yeah.
Does that change your position at all?
Well, look, what the events of Monday, the mediation and the reconciliation, speaks to the type of world politics that we want to push. That it is not always that we must be taking each other to court and suing each other and resorting to killing each other. Certain things can be resolved through engagement. Before you can hold grudges, you must at least try to engage each other, because there must just be a misunderstanding.
Yeah, but
the problem is
you're not answering my question.
Oh.
My question is, does this change your position on issues to do, for instance, with Israel and the Palestinians? Because it's one thing to talk about Jewish people, right?
Yeah.
And speak in a particular anti-Semitic way about their history and Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust. That's one thing, versus being able to critique the situation in Israel and Palestinian territories. So that's what I'm interested in, because your position on that issue has been known for some time. Does this mean a change of heart in as far as the politics of the Middle East is concerned?
Well, look, there are problems in the Middle East. There are problems between the Palestinians and the Israelites. It is a global knowledge that there is a conflict there. Now, it's the method of solving the problems that needs to change, that needs to improve and needs to intensify. We are now moving towards a dialogue to say, let us engage. What are the issues? Are there really issues? Instead of just saying, you are at fault, and then when we are saying you are at fault, we are not coming with the solution or creating an environment of engagement. The mediation created a space of engagement between myself and the Jewish community. Then it says that there is a possibility of creating a same environment. I have not seen the Israelites and the Palestinians engaging meaningfully and honestly, but we see a lot of interference. Everyone has a view. No one is genuine in this, between these two people. Everyone is pulling. There are people who are benefiting through the conflict.
Yeah.
This conflict could have been solved a long time ago. In as much as there are those who are dragging it to say it is religious, there are those who are dragging it to say it is politics, but there are people who are benefiting from the conflict.
Lastly, Mcebo, what is the big takeout for you? What is the big lesson from this situation with the comments and the engagement with the Jewish Board of Deputies, the Human Rights Commission, and your changed position for broader South Africa as we talk reconciliation? As you and I know that the conversation can be quite heated in the country, particularly where race relations is concerned, as well as issues to do with socio-economic justice.
Of course.
What are the lessons? And also add into that social media into the mix, because I heard you at the start mentioning the role of social media and how we interact with each other, being able to empathize and understand the other's position.
Well, look, I think let's start there. I think social media for the longest of time have been abused. It is a very dangerous tool that can be used to destroy. It can also be used to heal and build. And at some point, I feel that it needs to be regulated because it has taken over from the ordinary, normal, known journalism and media. We no longer wait for the news to hear certain things. We no longer read newspapers. Social media is very quick. I can die now. My parents will hear I'm dead within 30 seconds before someone goes to, formally explain. So I'm saying it is a very dangerous weapon that needs to be regulated and not to be abused. I am here sitting and feel that I am where I am because of failing to understand on how to use it. I ended up abusing it. And then it created a tension that lasted for 5 years that if I had died, it would have, my children would have carried it. I'm happy that I have resolved it, that life can go on and we can be able to speak on peace and harmony without being reminded that, but you were racist. And you never rectified that. Now, on the issue of reconciliation, when you bring it here at home, because when you reconcile, it means there was a fracture. It means you fought. There were disagreements. Now, before we say we forgive each other, we then say, what really had happened? How had you wronged the other? It is difficult for us in South Africa to speak of reconciliation because of what led to where we are. The oppression, the suppression of the other, the grabbing of the land, the economic and social injustices. We can say sorry, but you took my possession and you are still having that possession. So it is very difficult.
Mcebo Dlamini, I'm completely out of time. Thank you so much for coming through on Reconciliation Day and sharing some of your perspectives around issues to do with reconciliation there. Well.